the biggest thing is to become a student of where you want to be. Like,
Yeah.
who do you want to become?
Yeah.
What does it take to get there? And being a student of that. And
Yeah.
that I think will help people a lot to figure out what financial freedom looks like for them, and then what are the next steps that they need to do to get there. Even if you're in debt, you can
Yeah.
be exploring and figuring
Yeah.
all of that out.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Lessons into Blessings. I'm your host, Tari Thomas. We have with us Ericka Young, speaker, author, coach, founder of Tailor-Made Budgets, where she's helped her clients to get out $1 million worth of debt over the past 18 years that she's founded this business. She has a podcast with her husband that just got kicked off, For Better and Worth. Really showing the connection between relationships and building your net worth. One doesn't have to sacrifice the other. I'm excited to have her on because there are some money conversations that we need to have in order to get to this financial freedom space. And so I love her transparency and just all of who she is. If you can welcome with me on the show, Ericka Young.
Hello. So thankful that you're having me. This is such an awesome thrill. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, I'm really starting to see, as I just kind of look through the list of all that you've done and what you're doing, you really have a heart for, just even with the podcast you started with your husband, is really, it may be, congruous to your journey of how you've just been helping people take this step through getting to a place of getting out of debt, which is huge, right? Especially with them just announcing, okay, student debt is back, like that moratorium is now turned off, right? What kind of led you down this path of really being an aid for people to get to this place of really sometimes, from a non-sinking, drowning space?
Yes. Well, honestly, I got into it because I wanted to offer what I did not have. Period. Hands down.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times we are not clear and aware on how our debt, our lack of money management, our past mistakes with money are affecting our ability to get free. And so when my husband and I made a plan to get out of debt, we didn't know what the other positive impacts would be. We just knew we didn't want to make these payments anymore.
Right.
And so it took us 5 years to get out of over $90,000 in debt. And my hope at that time was that I could help somebody else do the very same thing. And so since then, I've had a couple of clients who paid off $200,000+ in debt, saved their marriages. Both of those clients in particular that I'm thinking of saved their marriages. And it is amazing to see the transformation that can occur, not just in your bank account or in your assets, but also in your relationships and in the perspective you take towards life. So that's why I got involved in financial coaching, and now finding ways to get this money message to more people through workplace financial wellness, training other coaches, and getting on different stages to help ensure that more people get that insight and clarity is was what I'm up to now.
Yeah, you're lighting the fire. You're accelerating it.
You're
accelerating it. It's like I feel like it's like Jesus and the disciples. Like, I can only do so much with me. I gotta really make disciples. And you really, from getting people out of that space, you've already made disciples, right? So now it's how do you get more people? It's kind of, what do you believe are some of the biggest money misconceptions that you have to kind of help people, that people have realized, maybe your clients have realized, like, whoa, I didn't even realize that was a thought process that I had, or that was holding me back?
Right. Well, I think a lot of people don't pay attention to the fact that your money past is affecting your money present and your money's future potential. So we really think we discount our past. We don't want to go back there. We think all of it is either negative or it's not serving us today. So I don't even want to deal with it. And the truth is that it shapes who you are. Like, it has shaped who we are, and we can change that. We can alter it. We can change our habits and all of that. But if you don't go back and look and understand how that has shaped who you are, then you won't know what you can do about it. So for instance, when about 10 years ago, my husband and I had a conversation, and this is when I had my own aha moment. He was talking about he wanted a bigger emergency fund. He just wanted to sock away all this cash. And I was like, what for? Like, we'll need to do that. We need to invest this somewhere else. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted the money to work, and he wanted more for security. And when we talked about it and unpacked it just a little bit more, you know, I realized that he came from what he will call a poor household. They were poor. They were on aid. And they didn't have a stockpile of cash. And so now that he has that ability, he wants that because he feels that that will help him to not be in that place again. Should anything happen. So while it is a great principle, and a lot of times we don't plan to get laid off from a job or have a medical emergency or get into a car accident, or, you know, something just comes field in life. The emergency fund helps with that. But for him, it was a security gland. And for me, I'm like, oh, I didn't think we needed all that. But because it's important to him, I had to ensure that it became important to me.
Yeah.
I want an emergency fund. I just didn't feel like it had to be that big. And now I understand why. And if I can understand him on a deeper level, then I can support what it is that's important to him. And then he can relax, right? Like, then we can
that's good.
Do that for both parties, right? Then that will be helpful to the relationship. But I think we discount our past, we put it away, we act like it doesn't exist. We want to get away from that. But if we do that, then we're not fully understanding what's affecting us today. And the same for me. Like, we live feast and famine. There's a lot of, just paycheck to paycheck living, and, up one day, down the next. And I realized that if I don't capture that, understand that, I can repeat those behaviors. That is absolutely something I have had to guard against, is not letting the account go too low, or not, having these healthy boundaries around myself so that I don't fall prey to that again. And so if we understand that, if my husband understands that, then we can help one another to be in a, just a better place financially and make better decisions.
Yes, absolutely. I think something you said was understanding the why behind why you do what you do. Because it can look on the surface like a good money principle. Like, I used to, back in the day when coming out of college, I mean, I used to just stack. Like, I never spent on myself whatsoever. I literally just stockpiled my cash, not realizing that was also a poor money mindset, right? Is like, I don't ever want it to, like, so I never spent it.
It's the scarcity mindset.
Even though it looked like it was good, it was like, no, you have permission to spend some of it on you.
That's right. That's a healthy balance, right?
Yeah, it's a balance.
It should ebb and flow. You should have money coming in and money going out, period.
Yeah. And so how do you help people to kind of get that balance, set those parameters that create their budget, so that they know what's the right parameters? How do they know what's kind of fits?
So I think it's individualized. So there is no blanket answer to this for everybody.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But I also think it has to do, we always start with goals. I mean, where do you want to see yourself? What type of financial person do you want to be? What goals do you want to see reached in the next 6 months? And then we can frame and shape and create a budget that will help you not only get there, but also have a balance and be able to enjoy. I absolutely believe you need to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
So even if that means maybe you're not taking this big lavish vacation to Hawaii, but maybe you can have, that weekend away with the family, or maybe you can go visit that friend for that special occasion. Maybe you can get that nice bag in balance, right? And I think we don't need to say no to every single thing while we're trying to reach the goal.
Yeah.
It's what's reasonable. It's what's reasonable and what's reasonable for you. And that's different for everybody. What's reasonable for me is not what's reasonable for somebody else. I think that it's important to start with the vision, the goals, the big picture, the dream. Where do you want to see yourself? Who do you want to be financially? And then bring that into, how do we create a budget that helps you get there, and also not allow yourself to spend so much money, so much time on the future that you're not balanced with what's going on today. You have to enjoy today. Otherwise you're going to break the budget to go do all the things today anyway. And then your future goals are not going to get met. Right. So
exactly. And that's pretty much what happened to me. I blew 50 grand.
Come on now.
Liquid cash in one shot. Bad real estate investment. That's a conversation for another time.
Ooh, see?
Yep. But I was like, whoa, how many trips could I have taken with that?
Yes.
How many, you know, like I went through like, whoa, man, all I could have done with that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you know, there were so many like lessons that I learned through that. So back to the topic of the title of the show, you know, is Lessons into Blessings, because I really do believe there's something that you can glean from every single thing and every single journey in your life. So the beliefs that what do you believe are like some of the biggest limiting beliefs? And for that, like kind of to your point, like your husband, you know, the stockpiler, you probably have like avatars for kind of the most limiting beliefs that you see, and like, okay, for this, you know, for the hoarder, for the money hoarder, for the one that's like, it burns holes in their hands, they can't spend it fast enough. Right. For those, you know, I guess if you want to say avatars or archetypes, or, you know, people that are like the typical folks that come to you, what are those, I guess, personalities and what are the tips that are most aligned to those that most help those people get out of debt?
Well, the two main ones are spender and saver. And we can, and I like to say that the spender is the one who knows how to have a good time. They're the party person. They know how to have fun. They will go and supersize everything. They're going to buy a shirt for their friend. They're going to go to the concert. They're doing all the things, and you see them everywhere, and they're having a good time. And honestly, life is so much richer with them, right? And then there's the saver. They're the saver. There's the person who, you know, they could be a hoarder, but the truth is, like, they're really thinking so much more about the future that sometimes today gets sacrificed. And so they're much more conscious of putting dollars away or investing in this thing. And it's all about tomorrow and not enough about right now, today. And I think both people are needed, because the saver without a spender in their life won't have as much fun.
Good point.
And the spender without a saver in their life probably won't have money tomorrow, right?
Very true point.
we need both, right? We need both. But I think that I like to use the term healthy boundaries. I think everybody can use healthy boundaries. Everybody. So the spender needs healthy boundaries. Sure, you can have fun, but what is the upper end of that? So not, you know, without being conscious of your goals and your future, but also being reasonable with your income and what's realistic given everything. And then for the saver, I think there needs to be some healthy boundaries around that as well, because they could end up being a miser, a person who, you know, does nothing and never buys themselves anything or doesn't have their house. I've seen many people who are the big time savers and they haven't decorated their home at all. Nothing is on the walls. They have furniture from 12 years ago, or it was passed down. Okay. Right. And we're not enjoying today. And so maybe the healthy boundary is ensure that you're getting closer to your future goals, but that you also have a little bit of dollars to enjoy. And sometimes it might just be one small thing right now, or one project, or one trip, or what have you. But I think that part is important. The healthy boundaries around where you get stuck in a ditch. We have to make sure that's
right. You know. So you're really actually talking about me and my sister, which is so funny. I'm like, wow, she's enjoying her life, and I have more money to spend than she does.
That's right. That's right.
So she will quickly, you know, pull me out of that. But I've had to do just kind of what you're talking about is like, no, I'm going on a trip and I'm spending like 2 weeks, right? Like,
Yeah.
you really have to set that boundary and set that goal to say, yeah, no, it's got to get done. And I need to plan, like it's overdue. I need to plan it like right now. Just put it on the calendar, just
Right.
book a trip, right?
Yeah. Well,
I think,
one of the things I'm doing, this is outside my box, but I'm just about to be spurred a moment and buy a plane ticket to go see my daughter. I haven't actually been to her place in Minnesota in a year and a half. And so I'm
wow,
like, I'm going to surprise her for her birthday. And
yeah,
I'm not super spontaneous person like that, but I'm
yeah.
like, I think this is it. Like, I'm an empty nester. Let's go. Let's go do it.
Let's hope this comes out after her birthday, but yes.
Right. That's right. Don't listen. Don't listen.
That's too funny. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of what you're talking about is just being in the present.
Yeah.
And one thing I've realized is just also on my money journey. Like I had, my dreams of being a millionaire by 30. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I was trying to hit goals like super fit. Like time, I think when you're young, time is just like it's what 1 year? No, it's gotta happen in like 2 months,
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, ooh, wow, like 5 years goes like 2 months, you know what I mean? And so I've acquired more, it's like, yeah, I just enjoy my relationships. I enjoy my time. I enjoy you realize, okay, money affords me some of these things,
Sure.
but it's not the end goal. Like if I'm not living out my purpose, it's like, what is this all for? Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I love that you've been able to create wealth for yourself through something that also is able to not only free other people and bring joy to other people, but it's a win-win, right? So
Yeah.
I love win-win scenarios.
It should be win-win because
It should be.
you're winning on both sides, right? Like you're not losing anything when you invest. You're not losing anything, when you're spending dollars to go enjoy yourself. Like
Yeah.
all of it is a win.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna now shift to like getting so we've got clients now, they're debt free, you've set their boundaries, they've paid off $200,000 in debt using many different strategies. I know like with Dave Ramsey, Snowball is one of them, and all sorts of different things. And we can talk about maybe some tips and strategies that you recommend. But now they're out of debt. And I have some folks, because I'm on the investment side, real estate side, and it's like, hey, we're out of debt. We're so excited. We're here. But now it's like, okay, how do I get to this place where I'm financially free? Meaning like, okay, getting out of debt is great, but I don't have anything still to really show for all my years of work or whatever. How do I get to a place where I'm in and I'm going to put quote unquote financially free space, because financially free means something different possibly for everybody.
Yep.
But how do they get from a debt-free mindset to a financially free mindset?
I'll be honest and say it's not easy. It's not easy. I think a lot of people have a hard time going from the shift of, oh, wow, I spent hundreds or thousands of dollars on debt payments every month. And now what? And typically what ends up happening, this is what I tend to see, is they get out of debt and then they expand lifestyle because they don't know what to do with the extra funds.
That's good.
Right. And then because they've expanded lifestyle, they actually aren't yet ready or have the mindset to actually figure out what it looks like for them to be financially free. So
that's good.
So that disconnect, because honestly, no one wants to be in debt. No one wants to pay interest. No one wants to pay fees, that kind of stuff. It's bothersome to make those payments. And you're confused, wandering, potentially like without direction in that middle spot, right? When you're like, okay, we're out and we don't know what's next. So let's just have fun, or let's just like, they don't really know what to do. And so then they expand lifestyle. And then, if we don't capture them prior to doing that and figure out how to define financial freedom for themselves, then they'll never know how to get there.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to ensure right off, and this is, I believe, one of the reasons why I'm geared to be a coach, is because I was calculating what that debt payment would turn into if I invested it.
Yeah.
I knew that I could become a millionaire if we invested that money. And I
Yep.
knew also that I wasn't going to invest all of it. At the highest point, I think that our debt, besides our mortgage, was around $1,200 a month. And I knew that at that time, I wasn't going to invest all $1,200. But
Right.
when I do the calculation of what $1,200 over the course of 20, 30, 40 years, I was like, oh gosh, easy, I could become a millionaire. And so I was like, okay, I had vision. And for me, becoming a millionaire was that definition of being financially free at that time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now, here's what's interesting. The kids are out the house and we've reached some of these milestones. And now I'm like, financially free is different. Financially free is, let's not wait till 65 to walk away from working for corporate for my husband, right?
Yeah.
Or what can my business do so that both of us have time freedom, right? And,
Ooh,
and
right
that
there.
has shifted because
Yeah.
we reached some other milestones. Thank God we did, right? Like that's awesome. But once you reach the milestone, what's next? How
Yeah.
can we then be a blessing to other people in a bigger way? Or
Yep.
how can we make a bigger impact? Or
Yep.
what does it look like to recapture our time
Yep.
and replace an income so that we can do whatever it is that we want to do? That, to me, having that vision helps you to focus on where to put the dollars, or how to make the moves. I love it when some of my clients have said, okay, I'm out of debt now and we're actually going to go start this business. That's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Or now wifey can come home, she doesn't have to work anymore, or hubby can come home and work while she goes to work, whatever it is that is for them. Or I can live wherever I want to. I've had clients who found a yurt or built their yurt. I can't remember. I think she might have built it. She found land, built her yurt,
Wow. Wow.
and went into a remote place. She spent a year or two researching, and then she went and lived in a yurt.
Wow.
I'm like, that's her dream. That's what financial freedom looked like for her.
Right. Right.
She had access to it with all the debt payments. And so I had other people who were like, my nieces and nephews, I want to make sure that they go to college. And so they are investing in their nieces and nephews. And so that kind of stuff is exciting to me. And to know that you can really be used, a tool, a conduit, a person who can help get people unstuck and help them have vision for that next step is pretty exciting.
Yeah. No, you said so many things. I'm like, I had to write down some because number one, having a goal vision, I think the millennial and younger generation, their definitions now, I mean, they're like, I don't even want to own a house at this, like I could live, overseas. And so that whole financial freedom definition has now, and I had another guy on, Maurice, it's another podcast where he talked about just like the different freedoms that we have. And he like really opened up my mind and expanded. And time freedom right now is extremely important for me. Yeah. Like, so I definitely believe people really have to dig deep, because millionaire doesn't even mean anything. I'm a millionaire. I'm like, what does this really mean? Like, it doesn't even feel like it. Like, the vision that you had when you were young, like, yeah, this is not what I thought it was going to feel like.
It's a thing, but it's not the thing, right? Like, what does it do for you? It's not doing anything right now. And I think a lot of times people just want to reach a milestone to say they have, instead of the milestone actually meaning something that can really change your life.
And that's it. And that's what you tapped on, is like, you really have to dig deep on what is it really that you truly, truly want? What is it really going to bring you when you think about that space of where you want to be? Not the goal necessarily that you want to hit, because it does tie to a goal, right? But it's like, what's that vision that you have for your life? And that vision then is like, okay, based on the picture that you're kind of articulating to me, this is kind of what it means from a goal standpoint. So we're starting with the end in mind, and we're saying, hey, that's the vision, and bringing it back to kind of, here's what the goals need to be. And even in real estate, when I talk to people, I try to get their whys too, because it's like, they want to know, okay, should I flip? Should I do multifamily? Should I do single family homes? It's like, well, what is it that you want to attain? Because based upon what you want to attain will determine, like, there's a strategy for real estate for everything that you may want to do.
Yeah.
And I think people's like, well, I just want to, be rich. Okay, well, be rich is like, okay, what does be rich mean? Like, so you really have to really start, okay, what does that look like? Like, and I think there's something about having a picture in your mind that really helps transform it. You can hear when you're talking with somebody, it's like, okay, yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's it for you. You know what I mean? And like,
and I think we also need to get more comfortable with exploring, doing things as experiments, finding out, like, we don't have to marry an idea. We can date the idea, we can practice, we can see if it's a good fit without making a long-term commitment. We can partner with people, we can shadow people, honestly, information is at our fingertips. Podcasts, books, seminar, like conferences. You can reach people so easily now. And so there should be no lack of being able to explore and see what's possible. And that's the part that I think people need to stay involved in. Like, the biggest thing is to become a student of where you want to be. Like, who do you want to become? What does it take to get there? And being a student of that. And that I think will help people a lot to figure out what financial freedom looks like for them. And then what are the next steps that they need to do to get there? Even if you're in debt, you can be exploring and figuring all of that out.
And then do it.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of people with knowledge, they learn, like, they know more than me. And I'm like, man,
that's why I say experiment.
I mean, I'm making the money, but I need to tap you to kind of get some new pieces of information.
And I think also, like, that's why I think people are so afraid to take action. And that's why I was like, experiment, date the idea. You don't have to marry it, because we feel like we're stuck once we make one choice, or we take an action. Oh no, I can't undo it. Well, yes, you can make a new choice. That's okay. I mean, we're going to trip and stumble over ourselves. I think there's freedom in knowing that ahead of time, that we're not going to do everything perfectly. And you can make a new choice. You can have a decision and then make a new decision. And learn from that. Like you said, that $50,000 you invested, you then after made another decision, right? Like, these are all decisions that are made based on the lessons that we learn.
I feel like there's, as we're talking about just doing and the visions, and I like how you talked a little bit about just kind of seeing who you want to become, because I think there's a part of this becoming or being that is, even when you talked about, like, the transition from the person who's like debt free, like, hey, do I just expand my lifestyle? Well, okay, the fact that you went back to, hey, now I have all this extra money, let's go. It's like, you haven't really broken that relationship that you have with money. That will help you kind of fuel where you say you really want to go. Right. And so, I mean, that's the beauty of boundaries. That's the beauty of partnership, having, a spouse or someone in your life to be accountability for you. But it's what is it you're really trying to be, so that you can change the behaviors that you have to do what it is you want to do.
So I'm reading Atomic Habits right now, and it speaks exactly to that. You can't change a habit unless you know who you want to be, right? I want to be a real estate investor. So what are the habits that a real estate investor has? I want to be a long-term investor. And, I want to be someone who who consistently invests. What do they do? They're a student of that too, right? Like, they make sure that they're setting dollars aside, and it's a part of their plan. I want to be someone who is thinner. Okay, then people who are looking to lose weight or who are thinner eat less. I want to be someone who's strong. They go to the gym. That is the habit they have, right? And so who do you want to become? Who is that person? And then what are the habits that you need to take to get there? And so sometimes we fool ourselves into thinking like, I'm a person who wants to lose a couple pounds, or I'm a person who wants to be this certain size, but I'm not doing the habits to get there.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth. So I clearly don't want that bad enough. Right. I don't.
And if not, understanding what's shutting you down from going to achieve those goals, right? Or like, why don't I believe I can become that, right?
Yeah. What's in the way?
That. Yeah. And I definitely believe it's a shift, because just even some of the things, like don't use credit cards and all that good stuff. It's like, in credit can be a beautiful thing, right? But when you have a bad relationship with credit, in your like, I'm in debt. I did not use credit. To now, my mindset is different. Now, credit in the hands of a person who's like I'm on a mission to be financially free, or in the hands of an entrepreneur, or hands of somebody who's like, no, I'm going to multiply this by using someone's credit, someone else's credit, someone else's. I mean, that's a powerful vehicle, right? And I think, even real estate and different things, it's a powerful vehicle. And like, there's some misconceptions about, don't use credit, but it's like, don't use credit poorly.
Sure.
Because you can use credit to fuel your money-making ability if you use it the right way. And it's just really like how your mindset is, the tools that you have. You can use a hammer to nail a hole in the wall. You can use a hammer to bang your head, right? So
you're right.
Like, that mindset is really critical on like really knowing how to best effectively use the tools that are given to you, or that you have. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, it takes discipline. It simply takes discipline and consistency to be a person who uses credit wisely, and or all of the tools that it takes to get to whatever your financial freedom is. It takes discipline.
That's good.
That is a thing to work on for many people, because we want things quick, fast, easy. We want to go through the drive-through. We want to be able to click on it and it's mine.
Absolutely.
We want the Amazon version, right, of our financial freedom. And I'm sorry, but it is not coming to your doorstep tomorrow morning just because you pressed a button. And so it takes discipline. And the thing that I have learned from people who are successful financially is that they're people of integrity, and they are disciplined about their money. You can be disciplined about money and undisciplined about food. You can be disciplined about relationships and maintaining solid relationships. And then you can be undisciplined about, I've heard this funny story. Judge Mathis. I know someone who knows Judge Mathis. I'm putting him out there. He knows himself. He is undisciplined. He is a man who is great in the courtroom, right? But he's undisciplined about putting gas in his car. He has been seen in the streets of Detroit on the side of the road with no gas in his car.
That's not good.
And it's undisciplined, but he is killing it on the other side. He has been on TV for many years. He has affected people's lives. He is an entertainer in that way as well, right? But over here, he is not disciplined. He doesn't seem to care enough, right? Somebody gonna help him out. They will. They see Judge Mathis on the side of the road, But we all have our areas.
That's good.
In finances, with your financial freedom, figure out what it looks like for you to be disciplined.
That's good.
That will change your life.
Yeah. And the relationships or accountability or whatever you need around you to have that in place. That's good. Because if you're really like struggling with like, okay, that's just not me. Okay, what does it take to, and be okay with that? Like, I know the things that I struggle with, and it's like, okay, I need help on that. I can't, like now I used to be able to go to the gym and be disciplined. Like, nope, just tell me what to do. I'm gonna show up. That's what you get. I'm gonna show up. But I need you to tell me what to do in order to get it done.
Look, know thyself.
Know thyself is those three simple words is really critical, because we're all, like you said, we all have our weaknesses. And so how do we arm ourselves with the right things to kind of help us guide us along the way. So that's
Absolutely.
really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Well, man, thank you for this conversation. We can't end Lessons into Blessings unless we ask one final question, though. So, what is your biggest money lesson that you've learned over the years, whether it's your personal money lesson or lessons that you've learned from helping so many people get out on this journey to debt-free and financially free? What's your biggest lesson that you've learned, and how is it a blessing that's serving you now or serving your clients now? I know. I mean, you've been in it 18 years, so
that's a good one. I will say money doesn't fix all problems, right? I think a lot of us think more money, this is going to fix this problem, this issue, this challenge. It could be a short-term fix, sure. But money itself is a tool. It's a resource, and how you use it can solve lots of things in your life and create openings. I love that word, opening into new realms for yourself. But
That's
money
good.
doesn't fix and solve all problems. It's what you do with it that matters. And that is the thing that I think a lot of people need to understand, is that you get a chance to control and tell your money exactly what to do so that it serves you well, versus thinking that it has all the answers for you. It doesn't have all the answers. You actually, within you, have the answers. You just need to use your tool to get to where you want to be.
That's good. That's good. Great place to end. I love it. So how can people get in contact with you? How do they check out your podcast? Give the deets, give the social deets.
Awesome. Yeah. So For Better and Worth is the podcast, and you can find us on all the platforms as well as on Instagram. And professionally, you can find me Ericka Young Official on Instagram, as well as I'm on Facebook, as well as on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And I also have my website, erickayoung.com, for speaking events and financial wellness programs to get out there in corporate and make a difference in corporate spaces too.
I think we got a little bit cut out there, so you may have to do that social thing all over again.
Okay.
I'll cut that part out.
Gotcha. So you can find For Better and Worth, our podcast, on all of the social platform, I should say on Instagram and all of the podcast platforms, For Better and Worth. And you can also find me, Ericka Young Official, on Instagram, as well as on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook, and my website is erickayoung.com. That's where I do all the corporate financial wellness.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another Lessons into Blessings podcast episode. Until next time, stay blessed.